Today, we're peeling back the digital curtain on artificial intelligence. We're going to uncover a story of concrete, power, and water. We're asking, what is the real price of AI?
You know the feeling, right? You type a question into an AI chatbot, and almost instantly, poof, you get this detailed, coherent answer. It just feels so seamless, so clean, like it's all just happening in some abstract digital cloud.
But here's the thing. Every single one of those answers has a physical footprint, a cost that isn't measured in bytes, but in kilowatts and gallons of water. So let's really dig in and uncover the true hidden price we're all paying for this new technology.
So first things first, we have to understand where AI actually lives. That term, the cloud, is a little misleading, isn't it? It's not floating around in the sky, it's grounded in massive, very real buildings.
They're called data centers, and you really have to shift your thinking to understand them. These are not some quiet libraries just storing information. No, they're active, energy-hungry factories, just packed with servers and chips designed for one purpose: performing the trillions of calculations it takes to generate a single AI response.
And right now, there is an absolute arms race to build them. Every major tech giant is pouring hundreds of billions of dollars into these plain, concrete shells because they are terrified of falling behind their rivals in the race for AI dominance. The scale of this boom is just staggering. By the end of this decade, over 2,000 new data centers are expected to be online. That's nearly tripling the world's current capacity in just a few years. More money is being invested in these centers than in new power plants, airports, and oil refineries combined.
But all of that computation, it comes at a steep environmental cost. These facilities have an absolutely insatiable thirst for resources. To put it in perspective, let's think about your own usage. A single simple question you put to an AI chatbot uses around 10 times more electricity than a standard Google search. Now multiply that by the billions of chatbot searches happening every single day.
And to understand the impact on a bigger scale, just consider this. Just one of these data centers can burn through the same amount of electricity in a year as 40,000 homes. That's like adding a whole new medium-sized town to the power grid overnight.
Globally, the numbers are almost hard to wrap your head around. Within the next few years, the electricity demand from data centers alone is projected to surpass the total consumption of Japan, the world's fourth largest economy.
All of that energy, all concentrated in one place, generates an incredible amount of heat. And to keep those servers from literally frying themselves, these places rely on industrial-sized cooling systems. And those systems? They require a second critical resource: water. Enormous amounts of it.
This isn't just some abstract problem either. Let's ground this in a real place: Querétaro, Mexico. It's a region that has become a major hub for data centers, with 10 already built and 18 more on the way.
The cost to the local community has been severe. In Querétaro, Microsoft's facilities alone are already drawing nearly 1/3 of the entire city's water supply.
And this has a direct human impact. While tech companies get the water they need to cool their servers, local communities are left with the consequences. People who have lived there for generations are now struggling just to find enough water to survive.
This brings us to a key question. These costs, for power and for water, they don't just disappear. They are actively shifted, often onto the people who are least able to bear them.
To understand who pays, you have to look at how these data centers kind of play the energy market. The power grid is basically a zero-sum game. When one user pays less, another has to pay more. Costs are highest during peak hours, like when everyone gets home from work. Well, data centers run 24/7, so they use algorithms to shift their energy use away from those expensive times. On paper, it looks efficient, but in reality, they're just dodging the premiums, and those costs get pushed onto regular households who can't exactly decide to cook dinner at 3 a.m.
And the effect is crippling. Take the Dalles, Oregon, home to a massive Google data center. In communities like this, household electricity bills have skyrocketed. We're talking climbs of as much as 50%, with studies suggesting that up to 70% of that increase is directly because of the new data centers straining the local grid. So why are communities and governments allowing this? It's all part of a massive trillion-dollar gamble, fueled by the fear of being left behind.
See, these projects are sold with big promises of jobs and economic growth, but the reality is quite different. Once a data center is built, it only needs a few dozen people to operate it. So in exchange for those few jobs, communities are giving up their water, their power grid stability, and often millions in tax breaks.
The engine driving this isn't even sound market logic. This is a gold rush. Companies are building not because current AI revenues justify the enormous cost, they don't,
but because they are terrified of their rivals getting an edge. They're building no matter the price, because that price is being paid by others.
So what this all adds up to is a revolution that's built on a mountain of hidden subsidies. The real costs, the strained grids, the depleted water, the taxpayer money, are all socialized. They're spread across all of us. Meanwhile, the potential gains, those are concentrated in the hands of a very small number of tech giants.
It really leaves us with a fundamental question. We're told constantly that AI is the future, that it's the next great leap forward for humanity. But when you look at the very real costs we're already paying, you have to ask yourself, whose future is it really?